So let's have a longer conversation about what my issues are with this administration and how they're handling immigration. The biggest issue is they're not going after the hardened criminals and the so-called gangs that they claimed that they were going to go after in the first place. They're trying to hit a hard target of 3,000 people a day. In order to do that, they've got to go after soft targets. They've got to go after individuals that are legally going through the process as they're showing up to immigration hearings that they're being called into. These people are trying to follow the process. So that's first and foremost. I have a real problem with treating people like they're trash, like they're less than human, just because you're trying to hit a goal and a target. And if you look further into that, the reason why they're trying to hit these goals and targets is because they've made commitments to pay to these individual companies that are for the for-profit prison industries that are profiting off of these individuals going to these detention centers. That's a problem. And if you don't understand that's a problem, then we probably don't have much to talk about. Furthermore, if you look into what happened through the last 50 to 70 years on our immigration policy, this is a problem that Congress has created. They have abdicated their duties, they have absolutely shirked their responsibilities, and they have not set an immigration policy that actually works, a system that allows for people to come into the country and work seasonally, go back home, and then come back again. The system is broken. So it's not the individual's fault that our government can't get their collective shit together and do their goddamn jobs. That's a failure on the part of our government. That's my second problem. My third problem is that if you go into Central and South America and you actually spend some time there and you start to study what's really happened in those communities, our government, our United States government has emboldened and absolutely empowered cartels and drug dealers and these fucking horrible human beings that are running these places back behind the scenes. Not saying they're government officials, because not every government official is a piece of crap, but most of them are being bullied and intimidated by cartels and drug dealers that our government has created. Our government. If you go back and look through what happened during the Iran-Contra program and all the kinds of shit since then, including what Obama was doing for the Fast and Furious program, et cetera, our government is complicit in creating the conditions where these people are desperately trying to flee their own countries. Think about it. How desperate would you have to be to flee your own home, leave everything behind, travel thousands of miles to go to a country that nobody really wants you in, according to the way they're treated here, and expected to be a second-class citizen, work for less money than anybody else, and be treated like absolute shit, not get days off, not get time off, be told that you either show up to go to work or somebody else is going to replace you. Those conditions are abhorrent. And that's the kind of stuff that these people are going through, trying to find a better life for their families. And you're going to sit here and belittle them and treat them like they're all criminals because they're desperately trying to provide for their families? How dare you? What would you do if you had to provide for your family? What lengths would you go to if you came from a country where cartels were running the damn show? What lengths would you go to protect your children? You always talk about you do anything for your kids. What would you do? How would you respond if those were the conditions in your country and you didn't have a voice and you didn't have a way to fight back? You would desperately flee and you would go try to find somewhere else where you could actually make a life. And then you factor in the next layer that I have a real problem with. All these industries that hire these people and deliberately and intentionally exploit their labor, all so that Americans can have cheap socks or cheap groceries or whatever it is that they're wanting to pay cheap for, because in the grand scheme of things, it's the corporations, you assholes. It's the fucking corporations that are exploiting the American public as well as the workforce, as well as these migrant workers. These are the real issues that we need to be focusing on. And instead, we've got this wannabe dictator piece of shit throwing his goddamn birthday parade that he's wanted since he was a little fucking kid because his ego is so goddamn fragile. I can't stand what this fucking guy is doing. I don't give a shit about him. To me, he's just a narcissistic piece of shit. I don't care about him. What I care about is all these idiots that are following this douchebag, that want some authoritarian scumbag that wants to be a goddamn dictator and throw a fucking parade like Kim Jong-un or fucking Netanyahu or Vladimir Putin. This is the kind of piece of shit that's sitting in our White House. And you dumbasses are following this fucking shit, and you're cheering for the way that he is treating human beings. That in and of itself is a nutshell of why I have a problem with what I have a problem with. If you don't like my opinion, that's fine. I don't give a shit. I'm entitled to my opinion just like you're entitled to yours. So you can say whatever you want. You can call me names. You can do whatever you want to do. At the end of the day, I'm going to keep talking because I feel it's my obligation as somebody that served this country, that honorably was discharged from the military, medically discharged from the military, not because I wanted to, because I got hurt. They put me out. And now I'm going to spend the rest of my life fighting for what I believe in because I swore an oath to the Constitution. And on the birthday of my military service, the branch that I served in for 8 years honorably until I was injured and sent home, I'm really fucking pissed. I'm really goddamn pissed that this is the country that I gave my life to serve for. And granted, I didn't die in service, thank God. I actually get to live my life and live it on my terms. But I'm not going to sit quietly back while a fucking bunch of fascist fuckbags try to take over my country. Not going to do it. This is why I'm going to continue speaking out, whether you like me or not. And if you don't like me, unfollow me, leave. I don't give a shit. That's fine. I'm not speaking for you. I'm speaking for the people that I believe don't have a voice. Because I believe it's my responsibility as a veteran to speak up for those that don't feel like they can. Because I get a lot of privilege in this world. Nobody really looks twice at me in this world unless they're looking at me as I'm intimidating, which, whatever, I don't care. My responsibility as a decent human being is to speak up for those that aren't able to speak up for themselves. And in this country right now, the people that are being attacked are the migrant community. And it's ironic because if you go back and study history, this has been happening for centuries. From back when the Irish were the ones that were being bullied and treated like crap because they were here in this country, or the Chinese, or the Japanese, or any other group that has come to this country throughout our history has always been treated like this in some way, shape, or form. The circumstances are different, the justifications are different, but at the end of the day, it's always about, well, they're bringing in all this crime. Well, the reality is, dipshits, they're not bringing in the crime. The reason why there's crime in this country is because the economic conditions are such that people are desperately trying to provide for themselves. You want to eliminate crime? You want to reduce crime? You want to actually address the crime issues that are happening in places? Try increasing the economic conditions. It's been proven time and time again. If you actually want to fix things, fix the economy. Bring back jobs that actually pay people livable wages, and people aren't going to be desperately out there breaking into cars and stealing purses or snatching purses or whatever else they're doing on the streets. You want to fix things, that's the solution. Fix the goddamn economy. Bring back the 1950s to 1970s economy. And in order to do that, you got to bring back the policies that actually got us to the 1950s and 1970s economy. This bullshit of letting executives run wild and get paid thousands of times more than what their average worker does, that's the problem. Being able to buy back stocks and manipulate the systems and to go in and destroy entire corporation structures that have worked for decades, all because they're trying to maximize profits. That's the problem. You really want to talk about solutions? We can talk about solutions. The solution is fix the goddamn economy. Fix what actually gets crime reduced. Stop allowing these corporations and these fucking billionaires to just use every goddamn system and to manipulate every part of our government for their own personal advantage. And yet, half of the population, not half, 30% of the population is still cheering for this ass clown that is doing the exact opposite. He's awarding contracts to his buddies and he's exploiting the system more and more every single goddamn day. From his meme coins to his luxury resorts that he's getting through contracts internationally. This shit is not getting better. It's getting worse. He's so brazenly and out in the open doing these things, people aren't even talking about it enough. It's absolutely disgusting what this man is doing. And I don't hate Trump. I really don't. I couldn't care less about the guy. I think he's a giant piece of shit. And he's always been a giant piece of shit. I've thought that since before when he was just a reality TV nutbag. I don't care about him because he's irrelevant to the process. The reality is Congress and our government is failing to do their jobs. And that's what we need to be protesting. And that's why we need to be holding them accountable, because they need to do their damn jobs to work for us, not the corporations.